is going on, gamers? Crimson VOW just came out, so we have lots of new cards to play with. First ones that I saw that looked really nice are in mono white. First off, we have an old favorite, Thalia, Garden of Thraben, 2/1 first strike for 2. That makes non-creature spells cost 1 more to cast. This makes every deck other than mono white much worse, because they all want to cast quite a few non-creature spells, whereas mono white we don't have very many at all. This list we just have the Portable Hull and the Flip Side of Redain that are non-creature spells. Nothing else gets taxed by Thalia, so it should be great for us. And First Strike means she is often a good attacker, especially when we can buff her with Luminarch Aspirant. Gives us quite a bit more game against control, much harder for them to build up their cards and interact with us. Other new cards, we have Fleeting Spirit, another difficult to interact with card, 2-mana 3/1 that you can discard a card to exile it and return it to the battlefield at the next end step. Good for dodging sweepers and removal, and sometimes being a blocker if your opponent's trying to swing for lethal, but you can keep your 3/1 and then attack them back with it. Seems pretty decent. The first ability I don't expect will be relevant very often. We don't generally get that many cards into our graveyard playing mono white. Either we win with most of our cards still on the field, or we get blown out, but maybe sometimes the First Strike will be relevant in grindy games in the mirror, perhaps. Another one that makes it more difficult to interact with our creatures, Allenbach Escort, 1-mana 1/1 with Vigilance that you can sacrifice to give a creature you control with a counter on it, lifelink and indestructible until end of turn. We have a decent amount of +1/+1 counters in this deck between Luminarch Aspirant and Hopeful Initiate with training that gets +1/+1 counters. Stonebinder's Familiar we've seen, though there could be more to make this super good, but I'm going to try it out. I'm not quite sure yet. It's definitely an interesting card though. Hopeful Initiate, I'm more certain should be good. 1-mana 1/2 with training, so whenever it attacks, as long as you're attacking with another creature with greater power, you put a +1/+1 counter on it. So this is another 1/1 or 1 drop for mono white that grows pretty easily. And occasionally you can remove your +1/+1 counters to destroy artifacts or enchantments, which are sometimes a problem and sometimes difficult to interact with. That'll often be a better option than using your Skyclave Apparitions, because then they don't get to kill something and get their token back. Speaking of Skyclave Apparition, we also have a new removal 3-drop here that I want to try out. Also has training, so works with the +1/+1 counter stuff. 3 mana for Savior of Allenbach, goes with the Allenbach Escort, of course. And whenever it trains, so when it attacks and you attack with another creature with greater power, you exile up to 1 other target creature from the battlefield or a creature in a graveyard. And then when it leaves the battlefield, those all come back under their owner's control. So if you're exiling your own cards from the graveyard, and then this gets removed, you get all those creatures back, or you can exile your opponent's creatures to get ahead on board, and then they don't get them back until they remove the Savior. So this is a very interesting card, which should have more play in more controlling matchups, I believe, than a Brutal Cathar would, so I'm trying 2 here instead of the Cathars. And then the other 3 drops we've seen, Skyclave App, Adeline, Redain. I personally really like Redain, so I've got 3, most people only run 2, and Spellbinder's great, and 1 Legion Angel because we're playing best of 1, and 4 Havens, 1 Cave of the Frost Dragon, 24 lands because we need to cast 3 drops in this version, and yeah, that's the deck. Let's go try it out. Alright, looks good. Got our new cards to try out on the play with a curve. Beautiful. No Snow Forest. Could be just about anything. I think we get the Luminarch down. And do we want to train next turn or just buff this for more damage now? I think more damage now is fine. Alright, they're just playing werewolves. That's fine. Redain's not very good against werewolves. Nor is Thalia. They mostly just play creatures. So I think we're just playing the Sentinel here. We'll put the counter on the Luminarch go a bit wider. Should be the beatdown. Though Thalia means they don't have any good attacks with the Naturalist, so that's probably right. Yep. So now we can buff Thalia and attack and train, which is nice. Oh yeah, 3/4 acquired. Look at that animation. Now, we could play Redain. I think since our opponent doesn't block there, they're planning to race. So I think we just want to put the Sentinel down because it's more power. You only punish, and they can't play Chariot here because we have Thalia, so we can't really be punished for this. Well, they can play it after they attack with a Naturalist. That's true. I think we take the 2, though. Arlen makes 2 2/2s. I don't think that's good enough. Skyclave App takes out Tovalar. Then we buff Thalia again, and all in. Let's see. That's a 7 plus 5 is 12. They're forced to block something. If they trade with the Luminarch, then they still have to chump something else. So it should be fine. They can chump the trade with the Sentinel. That's true. Did not quite see that. I think we're still fine though. Our creatures are much larger than theirs, and they are at 2. They can pass to Knight here. If they have a Nightling Bolt, we might be in trouble. Now we can play the Shield, though, which should be really good in this matchup. Resolves. Go face. And we got him. Nice. Hopeful Initiate, 1 mana 4/5. Seems pretty good. No 1-drop, but 3 good 2-drops. Should be okay. Probably should have played the Haven first there to hide our portable hole. But it's fine. Do I want the Luminarch going, or the Fleeting Spirit? Gruul again, so Thalia might not be great. I think let's get the Luminarch going. The longer it's on the battlefield, the better. Both it and the Fleeting Spirit would attack for 3 next turn. 2 mana 1/1. If you control another wolf, put a counter on it. That seems decent. We can, however, put it in a hole. But we can save that for later and see what's in their hand first with the Spellbinder. Veil, Moonrise, Tovalar, Pack Leader. I think Tovalar is the one we're most concerned about, so let's send that back. They might just play their Unnatural Moonrise here to get the card, which, fine. I'll take 2 and let them draw a card. We're getting way ahead on board. And if they play the Pack Leader, then our Luminarch outsizes it. Yep, that's a 2/2. That's fine. If they want to race, I think we win that race. We can also play Thalia, and then we can still cast our Portable Hole, but they can't cast their Snakeskin Veil, which seems pretty good. Let's go to combat first, though. Maybe they want a 2-for-1 for our Luminarch Aspirant, which I won't be mad about. Okay. Sure. In that case, we'll just play both our 2-drops here. And now Thalia, of course, blocks the pup, unless they have another werewolf, which they do. Do I let them have this card? Do I need this Plains for anything? I don't really want them to have this card, but I do still think we are the beatdown, and otherwise this portable hole's not doing anything. We don't need the Plains, we'll do this trick. Don't want them getting too ahead on cards here. Let's see. If we attack with Haven, they might trade with Tovalar since they have another one coming. They could just cast this one. Or no, this is a tapped land. They can't cast that one. Probably should have attacked with Haven. Really? Alright, I'll take this trade. And then we'll kill the pup. Or exile the pup, rather. And pass. And then they need to top deck a creature here to have anything. Which they do, and it's a pretty good one. Just trades for Haven, though. They attack. They go to 2 here. I don't think that's a good play. I don't think anything they can have gets them out of this one. Yep, double Stormseeker, sure. I'll take 6, good job. Get your attack with creatures quest in there, bud. Good game. Alright, just hit werewolves twice in a row. It's somewhat unusual. I guess there were some good ones in the new set. Once again, I go first. Once again, 2 lands with a bunch of 2-drops. Should be fine. I do still have 10 or so 1-drop creatures here. 3, 3, 2, 1. So 9 1-drops. So we should have them fairly consistently anyway. Looks like the mirror. Our opponent has a portable hole, so we do not want to expose our Luminarch Aspirant to it. Don't really want to play Thalia either, they'll just play their portable hole for 2. So we'll play the Spirit. It's aggressive and gets around to the hole. Of course, if our opponent's also playing mono white, they don't have many things we can tax with Thalia, so she's not very good here. Though First Strike is pretty relevant in creature matches. Sentinel, fine. 3 out of 4 Fleeting Spirits, nice. I think we want to be mana efficient though and play our Spellbinder here. Let's attack first. We go first, we should be the beatdown. Okay, Redain, Skyclave App, Portable Hole. We don't have anything that deals with the Skyclave App at the moment, so I think that's what we want to send back. If they shield us, we're in big trouble, but if we play Thalia, then that costs 5 as well. So we'll take the Skyclave App. And also they don't have any good play here face up other than play Redain as creature, so I don't expect they will wait to play it as the shield. Okay, they play the hole for the spirit. Spirit on board is better than spirit in the hand. And I do want this Thalia to stop them from casting the shield next turn. They decline. Why didn't they exile my spirit from my graveyard? I'm confused. Ooh, or I can play my own Redain. That's better than Thalia here, I think. It's more mana efficient. If we then find a land off the top, then we can go Thalia plus another creature later. Seems good. And it also makes their land center tapped. So actually means 2 more turns before they can cast either of these, rather than just 1. So that should be kind of devastating. Unless they top another Skyclave App or Brutal Cathar, something like that. They've drawn a few more lands than we have, though, and we went first, so this is our game to lose. Yep, there's the creature side. And the portable hull's out of their hand now, so we can safely play our Luminarch, which we'll probably use to buff our Redain, because Vigilance is good. Now they exile it, short. Might have seen me mousing over it. Ooh, or we could play the Savior. I like the Savior. Yeah, we'll do that here. I'm happy to trade either of these for their Redain, or they just bounce this off and we still get 6 damage in. Seems fine. See, they still can't play the Skyclave app. So we should be good. Going to have to play defense here. And they can't effectively do that if the Savior is still on the field, because it gets to exile one of their creatures. So they're going to have to deal with the Savior, which is convenient for us because it's also the one with the least power, so they still have to contend with our 3/1s, and that leaves us in a pretty good spot. Good game. Alright, 1-drops, curve, seems good. Our opponent's also got the new sleeves. Also playing Gruul, perhaps? Ranger class, right? There's our Thalia. I think we just go for the Luminarch here. And if I buff the Usher to a 3/2, they probably trade with it, but I think that's pretty fine. They might have traded with it either way, in which case putting the counter on the Luminarch would have been better. But I don't think it super matters here. That's a new one. Spells you cast cost 1 less for each card type they share with. Alright, so their creatures cost 1 less. That's pretty good. I think we definitely want Redain on shield here. We can portable hold their Ranger class and play Thalia. Or we could save Thalia for after we play our shield, which is probably better, and start getting aggressive in the air. Tovalar, Arlen, Ranger class. I think Arlen's going to be the biggest problem here. Though we're going to need to find some removal for their wolves. Though if they attack with the Prowler, we can just trade it with the Spellbinder. If they play the Tovalar here and try to draw cards. Especially since they play the second Ranger class rather than plussing this one. I'll happily trade here. Okay. Fleeting Spirit is another fine blocker. Or we could play the shield. I think we want to play the shield. Shield is just so good. And let's go a little wider here. Put some counters on the Luminarch. And still not in a great spot to attack because they draw 3 with their attack. They can buff things with Tovalar now, which could be a problem. +1 Ranger class. I think we just take the trade with Tovalar here. Stop their card draw for now. It's definitely the biggest threat on board. They put the counter on the token, which is good because we can put it in the hole. Of course, they have the second Tovalar. We can flip it back to day, though, at least. And just play all of these. Seems okay. And I think the first strike is going to matter a lot here. So we should put the counter on Thalia. Not in a great spot, though, with the double Ranger class. And Renin 7. Yeesh. Suppose this is what happens when we're on the draw. Well, I don't think exiling this is going to be relevant anytime soon. So we should just try and get a Mega Thalia. Until we can find a flyer. Casual +1, draw 3. Seems good. Yeah, take your time. Over there with all these decisions. Can just slam Arlen here. Probably not bad. They want a naturalist so they can flip their Tovalar. Any attacks? Nope. Second naturalist. That does not remove Tovalar. And they get 2 counters per turn, while we only get 1. Not great. And this is low impact at the moment, enough that I think we hold it for the Fleeting Spirits. Keep building the first striker. And now it's night. So now they have lords. Yeah, we're not winning this. Alright, Domri Avatar. Bet you're playing Gruul too, aren't you? I put out the Vampire half the set, and now everyone's playing Gruul. Who would have thought? This should be okay. It's not the best hand. No Luminarch or removal. Alright, removal. We'll take it. This person's probably on mono green if they're playing Haven. Yeah. I think we play the Thalia here, so they can't chariot us. Are they really thinking about this trade? Interesting. In that case, they can't play Chariot next turn. So maybe we play our Fleeting Spirit. Although if we draw a land, we'll want to play Redain. So let's get Thalia down. Redain is much better in these matchups when they play snow lands, of course. Alright, no plays there. That's what I like to see. And there is Redain. I think I want that over Adeline here. Just all the taxes. They didn't have anything with 3 mana last turn. Doubt they will this turn. Nice. Now we can play Adeline. And the Usher. And then we should be in a fantastic spot with the Skyclave app to clean up whatever they try to do here. Really don't think they should have traded this Sculptor back then. Alright, yeah, that's GG. I think it's just lethal here, isn't it? Yeah. Good stuff. Takes down mono green, even on the draw, though they did make some questionable decisions. Yeah, I guess that troll was probably stuck in their hand. They had the Faceless Haven. They couldn't cast it. Right, one more time, see if we can find someone who's not playing aggro. That hand will do. Got a curve. Nope, they're playing aggro. Savior is a good draw against mono white. Might not be able to attack with it reliably if we're on the draw. But we had a 1-drop and they didn't, which helps. Fleeting Spirit or Sun Gold Sentinel here. Probably the Spirit for the new card. And it's better if they come out with Brutal Cathar or Skyclave app, something. No consideration to Thalia because they don't play many non-creatures. Double Luminarch, that's rough. Mono white very often comes down to who has more Luminarchs. Alright, they're putting all their eggs in one basket though, which should be good for us. I'll take 4. Portable Hole, sweet. Do I want to play that here over the Savior? I think so. This gets out of hand too fast. And the Savior can't do anything about it until next turn. So here we can Portable Hole and play either Sentinel or Thalia. Guess we should attack first. I'm fine trading either of these. Do we just boast here? No, no way. These 2 drops are too good. Okay. I would have blocked the Spirit if I were them. But either one is fine. And I'll play Thalia. First strike means they can't attack with their Luminarch this turn. That's rough. We can hit the second one with the Savior, though. I mean with the Spellbinder, not the Savior. And I think we have to do that, because if they just chain these, we're losing pretty quickly. Savior will have to wait. This not doing anything when it comes down is really being a problem. Those are really good cards for them to have left. We are in trouble, as the kids say. Yeah, even if we go for the Savior here, they'll just Cathar it. Yep. Just going for the 7/6 Legion Angel. Alright. This player does not play around removal at all. That does not do anything. Well, we lose anyway if we don't get the Legion Angel removed, so we have to at least try, I think. And then, yeah, we need the Spellbinder to block here. They might Brutal Cathar the Spellbinder if they're really super aggressive. Although if we attack with the Savior, then they just block it, and then it dies and they get their Angel back. Not great. This card is much better if you're ahead. Or against control when they put your creatures in your graveyard. Yep, here's the Cathar. Short. Don't see a good reason to go to 1 here. Guess we can jump again next turn with Redain if we really want to, but we're probably dead. Yeah, I don't see how we can win this. But we'll see. We can attack with our Fleeting Spirit. And then we block here and here, and I guess if they power up Haven, we're dead, so we do have to exile this. I believe it comes back in untapped. Yeah. So unless they can remove the Redain, we do survive another turn. Alright, yeah, they can remove the Redain. Yeah, their draw was better than ours. Pretty much all I have to say about that game. Alright, I lied. One more time. See if we'll find someone not playing a creature deck. Karn is a good avatar for someone not playing creatures. This hand, however, is much better against creature decks, and they have the werewolf sleeves, so they might be. I'll try it. Sure, that can go in a hole. Or I could play the Usher first, but then that gives them opportunity to Deadly Dispute. We're aggro. Play aggro. That's a good draw. Now we can play that and the hole and not waste our mana. lane can also go into a hole. And I think that's the play. Then we can boast here, or play the Fleeting Spirit. Fleeting Spirit is more damage, and we are aggro, so we'll play the Spirit. If they meat hook or something, we can exile the Spirit. And we still have a Spirit, and we can play Adeline next turn. Should be okay. If they play a Predator or something, they don't have anything to sacrifice. If they play a defensive Goldspan, we're in a bit of a bind. Alright, Predator, that's fine. We can attack into it with our 3/1s. Yeah, we'll get Adeline down. Don't see a need to attack with the Usher here. They just eat it. I don't think sacrificing our Usher is worth getting the 1 damage from the token through and saving the token. It's a lot of blockers, and a good reason to have played Thalia last turn. Well, now if we attack with Adeline, we can play the other one, which is not bad. The bad thing is that just trades with one of their spiders. But we can be pretty aggressive here. We can go all in. They can only block so many things. Well, they can block 3. If they exile something with a Predator, the Stonebinder goes up to a 4/4. Or we can exile our own Fleeting Spirit to make the Stonebinder a 4/4 at instant speed if necessary. Face is the place. I guess there's nothing in the graveyard to exile with the Predator. Okay, they jump the Stonebinder, so they go to 3 here. Did I miss lethal? No, they would have just jumped the Haven. They give up. Alright. I'll take it. That's close enough to control. I think they're in a fine spot there. They can make more spiders with Lulth. We're not necessarily dead. Or they're not necessarily dead, I mean. We do still have a pretty formidable board with the 2 3-power creatures, our 1/1, and the new Adeline we're going to play. And they're left with a Predator and 2 spiders, which is the same as they had last turn, plus whatever they'd cast. And at 3, then anything is lethal. So, yeah, we were pretty favored from there, I think. Alright, back to go over the deck and review our new cards. Thalia, of course, was fantastic in the games where they had non-creature spells to cast, and being first strike, she was still fine against the creatures when we had her. Fleeting Spirit was surprisingly pretty good. 3/1, often traded up, and being able to exile it and come back was pretty good. Our opponents didn't really want to block it or try to interact with it at all, just because they were afraid of this ability or didn't understand it or something, but performed pretty well, I think. Hopeful Initiate, the one game we had, was fantastic. If I had the wild cards, I would play 4 of these. 1 mana grows more consistently, in my opinion, than the Stonebinder, and has the additional ability. Should be great. Never drew the Allenbach Escort in 6 games or so, so holding off judgment on that for now. But we did consistently have +1/+1 counters, so probably fine. Savior of Allenbach never really got to do anything. The one game where we had it against mono white, it would have been much better if it were a Skyclave Apparition. And it not doing anything when it comes down is a pretty big downside in creature decks, even though it can eventually exile more than 1 creature. You have to be pretty far ahead for it to be able to consistently attack, because of course your opponent will want to block this as much as possible to get their creatures back. This might be a win more card. I would not craft this if you're mostly playing in best of 1. Maybe it's better in best of 3 when you can exile stuff from your graveyard against control gamers. But we have good 3-drops against them already with Redain and Spellbinder. Maybe this one's just not quite good enough for standard at the moment. But yeah, mono white still top tier deck. Should be a good win rate no matter what kind of version you play. And I think these new cards at least make it a little more interesting, a bit more lines to consider when you have Fleeting Spirit around, especially always having priority. Love that. And yeah, thanks for watching.